Nah, so we played together for 1 year. So my true freshman year was his senior year, and relationship wise. So as a true freshman, you're trying to figure it out, right? He was a 4 year starter, right? His senior year. So when you're trying to figure out things, you gravitate to people that you see the building respect. And in those meetings, he knew what he was talking about. It's like, hey, I'm about to hang out with this dude. So I'm a freshman. He taught me the whole defense as a true freshman in college, and from there on, we just kept our relationship going.
Your thoughts about the young guy coming in the room and his rise in football ranks? What do you think?
Yeah, I thought he was absolutely coming in. You can tell, like he was hungry, eager to learn. He did surround himself around, around the older guys, which was smart. Being a younger guy, want to play early and things like that. So I mean, it was good. You can tell he was a smart young man, from the beginning anyway. And that's why he ended up being a 4 year starter himself as well.
Yeah. So what's the relationship like between you guys and Wilford, right? Doing all the defensive backfield. How does that all work out?
So initially, I think when you talk about the secondary, I believe it has to be one. Like, you know what I mean? Because the biggest thing from secondary standpoint is you don't want to have DBs going palms up. Typically, palms up equals busted coverages. So as a secondary, we're one. All right. And initially, we meet together from an install standpoint, make sure we get everything, be on the same page, in the same book. And then from there, they have certain things that safeties need to hear. And Coach Wilford would meet with the safeties, and they think there's certain things that corners need to hear. Like, it doesn't make sense for the safety to listen to Coach Hicks talk about press, and they may be impressed maybe 2% of the time.
I was just wondering, with basically an entirely new secondary, Miguel's back, but he came out of the portal too, I guess. But I was wondering what it was like putting that group together, working with Geiska on it, and also that dead period right in the middle. It looked like you guys needed some safeties, and then there was that big break. What was that like, just for both of you?
Yeah, it was very unique. It was interesting time. It was a a challenge for us, which was good. We enjoy those. But just going through watching the film, with the player personnel and watching the film from the coaching staff as well. Like, I thought we did a great job of evaluating the guys. First off, and once they got in the portal, just getting in contact with them, and making sure they understood our vision, and educating them on the type of system we were, our defense, and how fun it'll be to play in the secondary, and how successful that they can be. So it was a great fun time. So it was good.
And when you talk about evaluation, I think it's really important in a portal, in a short stint, that you're trying to figure out, just not athletically, right? You're trying to figure out how their mental makeup is. Do they fit who we are as a program? And do they fit what Coach Silverfield's vision is, right? So a lot of these guys, it's like former relationships, whether it's Christian Harrison that played for Coach at Cincinnati, whether it was Coach Hicks at Cincinnati, whether it was Ian Williams that played for Coach at Memphis, whether it's Carter Stoutmeyer, who initially coming out of high school, I was recruiting him, right? And the same with Braden Lee, right? He was initially the first in the past. I was recruiting him here, so it's prior relationships that you already have. You take those relationships and you cultivate them, and they respect you from the past, even though they may have not picked you the first time, right? But when they get back in the portal, you have that opportunity, and it's some familiarity there.
I want to ask you a little bit about Christian Harrison, what kind of player he is, and why you felt he'd be a good fit at Arkansas, and what all roles he could potentially play. But also, I wanted to ask about Kamori House and the decision to work him at the star position.
Yeah, Christian. Even when Christian was in high school, like Christian played corner in high school. At his first college stop, he played nickel, and then he played safety. At the last spot. So very smart young man, and very athletic. So we knew that, he can fill, several roles, on the team because he's done it in the past. His film was really good in high school and at both spots, at college. So, he's a great addition, to us, and we're happy to have him.
For either of you.
Kamari House is what we consider a jack of all trades, right? Extremely active on the football field. Great blitzer. He was playing back last year, but when you watch him cover in man-to-man situations, you would never knew that he played backer. He's a really, really good football player, smart, instinctive. The best way I could describe him is active. You know what I mean? You could see it on film at the last place he was at, and when he blitzed, how instinctive and natural he was at using his hands, defeating blocks, whether the ball in phase, out of phase, what tool he would use. He has it.
For either of you, Coach Silverfield has talked about how when you're deciding who's going to go out with the ones, the twos, whatever, some of that's early based on experience level. Like, you're not going to put a true freshman out there with the ones necessarily. When you have a group like the secondary where pretty much everybody's new, a lot of them have experience at previous schools, and they're coming in with a decent amount of snaps. How do you decide who is going to go out there with the ones and twos, and how are you continuing to evaluate that?
I don't know if there's a ones and twos. You know what I mean? Like, just saying, you kind of said it just now, but I don't think it's, hey, we have starters. Or it's not that. We have prior experience with them through that film. You know what I mean? But I don't know if you say, oh, this guy's a one. So you just mix and match, and you try to figure out who's the 5 best guys. And those 5 best guys, that's who you put on the field, right? And we talk about being a 4-dimensional player, right? And it's another reason we meet together. Beginning the meetings, because you want guys to be able to play. There's no such thing as, oh, I just play corner or I just play weak safety. No, the weak safety has to know what the free and the star is doing. The corner need to know what the star, the weak safety, free is doing, because you never know in today's world. In college football, it's more comparable to the NFL now more than ever because of the roster sizes, right? I know it's similar because, hey, when you look at depth around the country, everybody's like, you talk to anybody, like, all depth. Like, it's everywhere in the country. You know what I mean? Because of the portal, the 2 that was at such and such university, he's like, oh, I can't beat such and such out. I'm going to go to another school. So now I think there's a big separation between the 2 and the 3, essentially, right? So now, to get the best 5 guys on the field, you got to make sure you have a lot of guys that has position flexibility, so you can say, hey, you don't help yourself from a value standpoint, right, when you're just a one-position guy.
You were obviously here before. What did you think when the opportunity to come back to Arkansas came to you, and what made you decide to come back?
Obviously, with it, the prior relationship with Coach Roberts, right, and the respect that Coach has in this profession. I'll be honest, he's probably one of the brightest minds. And you can look at, people talk about player development. You can look at all of the coaches that he's developed, right? And when you look at, you got a head coach that in the SEC, a head coach in the SEC that he developed as a coach. You have 2 guys that's in the NFL now that's future coordinators in the NFL that had opportunities to be coordinators in the NFL this year, right? And obviously the vision of what Coach Silverfield had, right, and how he is seen amongst the profession and how he's one of the most winningest coaches over the last 5 years in the country. You want to be a part of that, right? And obviously the city, Northwest Arkansas in general, it was a no-brainer. I asked my wife, and wife like, yeah, I'm ready to go back. It's all good. You know what I mean?
Darren, if my timelines are correct, I think you were at Florida when Miguel Mitchell was a freshman. I'm curious what you saw of him then and how he's maybe evolved, since then. It's been, a little bit of time since then.
Yeah, Miguel played as a true freshman. He was in the packages at Florida when I was there with him. And then, which a young player, Green, just kind of running around, know your job, right? He was a one-position player at that time. Now, you could take Miguel and you can put him in at at all three positions at safety, right? He could play weak safety, he could play star, he could play free, right? So the growth of Miguel has been a lot, but you could always see that he was extremely intelligent, right? Through conversation, the questions he asked, like, hey, this dude, he's gonna be all right? But he was probably 205 at the time. He's probably like 215, 220 now. It's another thing that's changed. But yeah.
What was it like getting him to come back? Because he had entered the portal and everything, but he decided to come back. Just what was it like how did you convince him to come back, and what was that process like?
System familiarity. That was one of the main things. Like, you know the defense already. You played it as a freshman and as a sophomore. You had a pretty good freshman year. Being coached by Coach Wilford again. And don't have to relearn, right? When you have 1 year and you getting into the portal, it's like, bro, you have the ability to, I already know that, like, he know all of the checks. Like, he's so far ahead of everyone else because he's been in the system. And that's one of the reasons you want him to come back. So it's like, hey, you could help us teach the rest of the room, right? Because you have a lot of familiarity in the system.
Darren, you were here obviously with under Sam Pittman. You're here now. I'm curious, any differences in just kind of how spring practice has been run that's different now than it was back then?
I have a ton of respect for Coach Pittman. He gave me an opportunity to come in. I love Coach Pittman, right? Still have a relationship with him to this day. It's different, right? And for me, over the last 5 years until this year, I've worked with guys that's been under, you would say, the Saban tree, right? Whether it was Coach Pittman, who came from under Kirby Smart, whether it was Billy Napier, who came from under Nick Saban, right? So it is different in that standard. I mean, it's philosophy based. I don't know if you would say like one is, they're both successful, right? Coach Silverfield was under Mike Novell at Florida State, you know what I mean? So that's the biggest difference of how things are ran from a structure standpoint, which I think both are good.
You kind of seen Miguel Mitchell as a freshman. Is there any freshmen that you've seen this since you've been here recently that are maybe sticking out to you?
Yes, I would say all of them they're young. They're still trying to learn. Whether it's I'll talk about some of the safety with Tay Lockett, right? Fan favorite. He's extremely intelligent. He flies around, asks smart questions. He's one that stands out. Next, I would say, I'm looking at the notes. Williams, he's doing a good job. Got to get a lot better. Coach, take the corners, guys. You have.
Yeah, I think B Ford's doing a really good job of just continue to learn and put himself in a good position. Like, really smart young man. He's gonna be really skilled. And then we got Jalen Copeland's doing a really good job. Is just trying to learn. And then, we had a kid, DJ Harrison, that came from, I know you said freshman, but he's going to be a sophomore, but young player that's going to be a really talented, man coverage guy. But, obviously they're all continuing to learn the scheme and put themselves in the best position that they need to be so they can, help make plays for us.